Cptsd vlog / free thought exercise. Today is March 12th, 2025. So I picked up some new, I forgot to take one of my meds and I went down on one of my other meds. So today is kind of a crazy day for me. And I'm adjusting. I don't know if I'm going to take that other med, the one I forgot, because I wanted to go down off of it anyway, and I was only on a very small dose, so it's possible that I could just not take it. I don't know, maybe that's not a good idea. I'll have to do some more reading to see about tapering off of that one. That one was loxapine. But I want to get off of it anyway because I don't actually think it's really helping. And anyways, I got some new supplements and those are actually helping. I got this one. It's SAMe, not same, it's SAMe, and it stands for S-adenosyl methionine. And this was really pretty expensive actually, and I found out later that I could get it for half price online, so I ordered some online. The health food store was really kind of expensive, and but this one actually is helping a lot. It says on the back here, it says for mood balance. So it's able to help with mood. And I also got this one. Methylfolate. And it looks like it has a little bit of B12 in there. And methylfolate is another one that they're both supposed to help with the same thing, and that's anxiety. So I was watching YouTube and I got recommended a video by PBD podcast, and it had Gary Brecka, I think his name was, biohacker. And basically he was just talking about anxiety, that if you have anxiety, a lot of people who have anxiety, generalized anxiety, or who've had anxiety for a long time, if you ask them is it on and off, they'll say yes. And you ask them, can you usually always point to what triggered it to turn on? And usually they'll say no. And he was saying this is because that it is a problem with catecholamines in our brain for people with anxiety. And that is, a catecholamine is there's three. There's norepinephrine, there's adrenaline, noradrenaline, and dopamine. And adrenaline and noradrenaline also have other names, I forget. Might be epinephrine. And so anyways, there's three of them, and they go unregulated, they go high in people with anxiety, or they can go high, and for no reason, I guess, and or a reason we don't understand maybe, but half of people, and this would probably be the people who don't have really bad anxiety, half of people have a gene that actually is able to regulate the catecholamines. So for just half of people basically who don't have this gene, they would feel more anxious and have more anxiety, let's say. And at least if you're like me, you can't really point to one specific thing. I do have a lot of memories that made me afraid and panicked, but I was kind of like afraid and panicked before, and like those things actually made it worse. So yeah, and I wasn't really able to, a lot of those things I wasn't able to like properly talk about with anyone, which is how they became trauma, because I wasn't able to process them. Trauma is like what happens to you and inside you. Like if you don't have a chance to process it, then what could be traumatic for one person could actually be a cause for growth, like a stressor that causes them to meet the challenge and grow beyond it. But for me, I really didn't feel supported or like I had anyone. I always felt judged. I always felt like I can't talk. Like literally my voice felt like I can't talk. Like it felt like there was like a roadblock or a dam, and that I would just explode or burst into tears, or something terrible bad would happen. Everyone would hate me. Everyone would think I'm some horrible name, some horrible thing. And that's really how it's been for so much of my life. But I think that, that was a long aside or rant, but I think that these like catecholamine regulators, these things that help with catecholamine regulation, are really good. And I've been finding that I feel like more calm and more put together a bit. And like today, actually, I felt like crap. And kind of like last night, I felt like crap. And I fell into my old pattern of binge watching pornography and binge masturbating. And I feel really embarrassed and ashamed. But it's the honest truth. And those have been getting way less frequent, which is huge improvement for me. But there's still an issue. And I still feel like I need like more help in that way. Like, I guess I could talk about that for a little bit. I had that problem for a long time, and it was basically just untreated. It's like a coping mechanism or a self-soothing, but it's also wrapped in like toxic shame and embarrassment. And I can feel myself getting uncomfortable just talking about it. But I think that a lot of people suffer from it. Even though it's one of those like things that is like a slow addiction or like a soft addiction or like a process addiction. It slowly ruins your life or slowly makes your life worse, your life quality worse. And there's even a lot of people who defend it, which I think is not good. But anyways, that aside, so I suffered from that problem for a long time, and I really tried to stop doing that actually on my own many times, but I found that like I was kind of like powerless on my own, and I would just like, I would go for a while, like no FAP or no porn or whatever, and then I would just relapse or go back into it. And that was really, I don't know, it's just like a cycle. Like it just felt like a discouraging cycle. And what really helped though was basically going to confession. So I think that, and the weird thing is, I actually tried talking about it with like counselors, and like I used BetterHelp, I remember, and I got matched with like some therapist, and the guy was so weird. This young guy was so weird. It's like he was like trying to not laugh the entire time. And actually, I know that especially for like young people, like young guys, talking about like porn or masturbation, I think for most guys, talking about porn or masturbation makes them all like really giggly, like school children. Like when we were in school and we did like the family health unit, everybody was giggling and laughing about penis or vagina, and like they couldn't hold it in. And part of me even still wants to laugh and find that funny, but when I think about how damaging it can turn out to be, that's when I'm like, okay, it's more serious. So I don't know. It depends on the context. But let's see. Okay, so I was talking to the one guy from BetterHelp, and he was like really weird. And he wasn't. I basically didn't trust him, and I didn't feel comfortable. So I stopped talking to him, and I went with another counselor because I was committed. Like I wanted to seek help for this. I wanted to not be a slave to lust or to pornography or like touching myself. Like it's just so embarrassing. Like, because like, how do you like? It's just such a shameful thing, at least for me, and I think probably for a lot of people, because like, how do you go around telling people that? Like, I know in some circles, which I don't agree with, people probably find that normal, but I don't really think that's like a good thing. Like, I don't know. Personally, I don't think that's like a good thing to be like wearing it as a badge of honor. Anyway, I think that okay, so I was committed, and so I went and I talked to a different counselor, and this guy was actually better. I actually preferred him, and if I could find him again, I would probably use him, but I don't know why I didn't stick with him, but I guess I just felt like it wasn't actually helping. Like maybe I wasn't ready yet, or like ready to commit yet, but he was better because he was like an older guy, and he basically was more serious about it, and he was like sharing stories about people he knew that had that addiction, and so that actually made me feel better, because hearing that other people were suffering and like the effects of what happened to them actually made me feel like less alone, because it does feel like a lonely thing, and like you feel really judged, you feel really like you're just like in it by yourself, like no one else is facing this. So yeah, now I'm feeling sad, actually, to be honest, because I think about the loneliness, because I felt lonely for a lot of different things in my life, but it is a lonely thing. There's this book that I haven't read it, but the title of it is Lonely All the Time, and it's a psychology book, and it says like for people suffering from sex addiction, and I think like, yeah, it's a common thing to feel lonely when you have like these imbalances, or In the book, I did read a little bit of it, and it talked about, like, I think people with traumatic childhoods, and it was an older book. I think, yeah, it was like about people with, usually it came from people with traumatic childhoods, and actually, like, I've had a tough upbringing, traumatic childhood, and I actually was, oh, it's so hard to say. I was sexually abused when I was like 5 years old, and it makes me tear up thinking about it. Yeah, it makes me tear up and get emotional thinking about it. But I think that, like, these dysfunctions with like sex and porn and masturbation, they can really stem from being abused a lot of the time too, and it's honestly, it's really sad. So I feel bad for other people who have gone through similar situations or worse to what I've gone through, because it's really horrible. It's like, it makes your life just less good. Like, you feel like there's something wrong with you. You feel like just like you could be doing better. You feel like down on yourself and guilty and ashamed. So yeah, I mean, I guess there is hope, I think, because, so I talked to that second therapist, and he was better, but I wasn't actually improving. So anyways, I went, I tried therapy for a bunch of different things, and I'm still trying therapy, but so I still had this cycle and this problem, and then, so what actually helped, or has helped, was I went to confession at church about it, and like, I realized, like, it was a sin. It was something that was separating me from God. It still is. But now I ask for forgiveness every time, and God always forgives. That's the amazing thing, is that God always forgives every single time, because it says in the Bible, like, his steadfast love is enduring forever. It's part of his covenant with us people, humans. And also Jesus will never drive away those who come to him. And actually, in the Bible, all the stories, which are amazing, because Jesus actually goes to those people who are like the lowest of the low. And the Bible makes a big point. It makes a big point of salvation for the brokenhearted, the downtrodden, basically the sinners. Like, we're all sinners, right? So, anyways, I accepted that it's a sin is actually keeping me away from God. And so I went to confession over it, and I went twice, but I still need to go more times. It was difficult, actually, because it was really difficult, because it was so embarrassing, like super embarrassing. Actually, I went to confession 3 times, I think, for it. But each time it's embarrassing, it's difficult, it feels really bad. One of the priests, I have trouble saying I don't like him, because like, I'm supposed to love everybody, and he's a priest. He's trying to do, I think, a good job. But basically I feel judged when I go to him, and I don't like that. But he's a priest that we've had issues at my church. We've had issues with him for other reasons too. And like, I've noticed just of my own, because I feel like I can actually have a fairly good judge of what's going on with people. I have a psychology degree, and basically I could tell that there was stuff going on with him and that he was struggling. But he's still really trying, and he's still a priest, so he should do a good job at being a priest. And there's been a lot of discussion and people saying that we kind of, like, people from my parish saying, like, we kind of want a different priest. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's a tricky situation. A lot of people have had problems with him. And I think that's actually a bad thing for Christianity, because it keeps people, like, it actually, if the priest was like one that I felt like God's love from, and God's forgiveness and grace more from, then I would be more willing to go to confession, even if it was over and over as I got, better, or as I, improved. I don't know how to put it. Even if I still struggle with that sin, I would know that I could keep going to this priest and not keep just like thinking like, oh, I can just sin forever because I feel okay with this priest, but like that it's actually helping me, and it's making it, I don't know, it's such a complicated thing to talk about in certain ways. But I think I'm getting my message across, I hope. But there is another priest that I went to, and he was way more like forgiving, and like he was just like, he seemed happy, just that the fact that I came and I was willing to confess my sins, it didn't seem like, oh, I'm casting personal judgment on you for your sins. No, it was like, he was like, it felt like he was personally happy that I was expressing like remorse or regret, or asking for forgiveness. So I just feel like there's a big difference in which priests you go to. But whew, it's a big topic for me. I'm trying to work through, and I think it's a big topic for a lot of men and women, because 78% of men actually view pornography. That's what the statistic is. And I've seen statistics higher that it's 90 to 95%. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And when you look at like the stats of like web traffic, huge amounts go to pornography. So when you think about walking outside and just seeing people, and like you can actually kind of think like, oh, 3/4 of these people go home and view pornography. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's personally, I don't think it's like a good thing. I think that technology and like our phones and like internet access has made it so interlaced with our life and easy to access. And I think that it's probably gotten worse. Like, I don't think in the old days in the pre-internet days, I don't think that many people were like viewing pornography, and probably the levels of addiction are really high now. Like, people who use it every day, multiple times a day, I think can be a problem. And yeah, I just think unfortunately, I think it's a big problem that a lot of people face. And I mean, I don't want it to be a problem for me. So that's why I'm working on it.